I am so excited to share with you the interview that I did with the husband of our newly crowned Mrs. South Africa 2023.
Hi guys, and welcome back to Pearl's Way. Today is a very special day. And why, you might be wondering? Because I have the honor of chatting to none other than Mr. Tsepo Kgailai, the husband of our newly crowned Mrs. South Africa 2024, Tsegofatso Kgailai. Welcome, Tsepo.
Thank you.
Okay, first off, it would be downright rude if I didn't take the opportunity to congratulate your magnificent wife on her win. Tseho, from all the women of South Africa, of every race and every creed, we congratulate you. And may your year of reigning be not what you envisioned, but more.
Congratulations to her.
There we go. Okay, so Tsepo, I know your time is very limited and we're going to dive right in. But
Sure.
before we get started, I have something for you that I feel you're going to be consuming loads of over this next year, just to try and keep up with your very own Mrs. South Africa.
Thank you so much. Very thoughtful.
And of course, yes. And of course, Red Bull South Africa. If you want to discuss any collabs, he's open to discussions. There we go.
Thank you so much.
Cool. Okay, Tsepo, before we get to the crowning of Mrs. South Africa 2024, let's go back to the journey. When Tseho said to you that she's now embarking on this journey, what was the conversation like, and what were your immediate thoughts and possible maybe concerns?
I think even before that, before we got married rather, she's always wanted to enter Miss South Africa.
Oh wow.
And which she did, and she didn't go through I think it's the screening phase.
Yes.
And she literally wrote it off. And I remember then the rules of Miss South Africa was quite stringent.
Yes.
That you can't have any tattoos.
Yes.
And I remember after she got let's call it a rejection letter, she did her first tattoo.
Okay.
And then there was years after, obviously we got married, and then Mrs. South Africa came up. I think it was last year, around about this time, December.
Yes.
And the entries went out, and she said, entering Mrs. South Africa. Literally said, why not?
Well done.
Yeah. In my head, we've actually attended a Miss South Africa.
Okay.
We were in entertainment, so we performed at a pageant as well.
Oh,
So
lovely.
in that, I thought, what I know as Miss South Africa is exactly the same as Mrs.
Yes.
It's just for married people.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, why not? She entered, and she said there's a casting where they actually go have interviews.
Yes.
And then she called me that day. She said, I'm a semi-finalist. I'm like, okay, that's awesome. Well,
Oh wow, just by the way.
yeah. And so, okay, what does that mean? So, okay, no, it's the semi-finals and then finalists and then crowning. So I thought, oh, okay, that's awesome.
Yes.
How many of you at that time? It was, I think, 100
Wow.
of the
So
semi-finalists.
she's literally 1 in 100.
Yeah. And then the journey started. In my head at that time, even I thought, okay, next 3 months going to be hectic. And then I asked her, I think a week later, so when's the actual events we can plan?
Plan, of course.
And she said November. I'm like, what?
That's a way off.
Yeah, I'm like, are you sure? Like, what happens between now and November? And then she actually explained the whole journey. Then I
Okay.
thought, okay, it's not what I thought it is.
Yeah, it's not wham bam, thank you ma'am. You know,
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
journey.
Absolute journey. So we didn't know till then, or at least I didn't know until that point.
I think
what
she
it
was very
entails.
aware of it every step of the way.
So I think she got shockers in her journey as well, in terms of, because it's very, what I learned from this is that it's very, very different from the Miss South Africa. Already from a timing point of view, the Miss South Africa is 3 months, and this is a whole year, and they really own and run their own campaign.
Okay.
From their content, their looks, what they dress, where they shoot content, getting content props, whatever, they do that on their own.
So it's all on you. You better make the right decisions.
Yeah, they need to source and find their own sponsors,
Wow.
do their own proposals, meet the actual people, their PR work with the media, radio, print, social media, they do on their own. So it's been quite a journey, obviously being involved. I think I can put on my CV that I'm a photographer after
That we
so
can
many-
attest. I can attest to.
just from all the pictures that we've taken, and it's been what a journey. I remember closer to the end, we were counting down. It was like, yeah, there's 1 week left, 1 month left, 1 week,
Yes.
few days left, and we were happy that we did our best in the journey,
Yes.
and we prepared ourselves for the disappointment. And we're very comfortable and okay with not winning.
Okay.
And yeah, we weren't. I don't think we prepared ourselves enough for the win,
Yes.
or the possibility of a win.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So now, as a family, you are all on this Mrs. South Africa journey, kind of by default.
Mhm.
Okay. And so, as the husband of a then Mrs. South Africa finalist, what are some of the stresses that you encountered? And now I need for you to try and be as honest as possible,
Sure.
because we know men are strong and they handle their ish, but there were definitely hiccups, especially as a married couple, because now it's not like a Miss South Africa pageant where I think of me. Now I've got my entire family to think of, So what were some of the hiccups that y'all encountered, and how did y'all obviously dealt with it quite well. I mean, just looking at the result today.
Mm.
And how did y'all stay grounded throughout?
Yeah, I think it was a tough journey, because I think, one, from a timing point of view and priorities,
Mm-hmm.
our norm, and we're both career people.
Yes.
We've also both got our own journeys in terms of our social lifestyle, and
Yes.
we are involved in the community, we're involved in the church as well. So this added on in terms of responsibility, timing, and juggling.
So added stress, and not necessarily stress in a bad way, but like it's being so involved in the community and your church and all of that is a lot already, and being full-time professionals as well. Now it's something else, and it's not
Correct.
something small.
No, not at all. We actually called it like another job, because it's exactly that. Just that it didn't pay.
Well,
Yeah. So it's been very, very hectic in terms of, obviously we've got before the show, we thought we had a place where we know our priorities, especially we've got a cute little son in the picture.
how old is he?
He's 3, turning 4 in
Wow.
2 months.
At least it's past the terrible twos.
Yeah. So our priorities are very basically based on, okay, whatever is good for the son, then we basically work out the rest.
Yes.
Now it was a very challenging way. We literally had to weigh our options. Okay, do we take out our son to whatever he really wanted to do,
Mm-hmm.
or make time and space for an opportunity for her to land a sponsorship, or
Yes.
do a great media interview, whatever the case may be. So that was tough and challenging, and because of the added pressure that they have as finalists, and also I think semi-finalists as well, and the many things that they need to, there's kind of like a set number of posts they need to do,
Okay,
or
oh wow.
branded content creation they need to do within these set timelines. And that might clash to downtime with the family,
Of course.
or normal routine, not even rituals, but traditions that we would have as a family.
Yes,
That would need to change.
of course. I mean, there was
Um,
no normal this past year.
Yeah,
Hey?
no, not at all. So that was challenging. In sometimes, even you thought to yourself, we were like second to this pageant, and we I think I had to have conversations with myself that, okay, it's only a time period, it's just a season,
Yes,
and then all get back to
normal
normal.
thereafter.
But yeah, not anytime soon.
No, there's yeah, for sure, for
Yeah.
sure. Do you think that your faith helped through this journey?
Absolutely. I think without without believing it in God, without our families, without the church, um, this we wouldn't be this far.
Could have quite easily fallen to pieces.
Yeah, or even broken.
Yes.
Because it's a journey that could potentially break you.
I can imagine.
Because it's tough decisions to be made. You in the limelight by default.
Yes.
And sometimes you don't feel like being in the limelight. Sometimes you don't feel like talking to people, and
Of
you
course.
have to be because of the space that you're in.
Absolutely.
Um,
Because even though she signed up for it, I mean, one would think you'll had the initial conversation, and you kind of signed on by default, and you're like,
Correct.
I'm going to support you on this journey.
Yeah, and there's different levels of support. There's support by cheering them on. There's the financial support. There's the present support. But you don't tend to think to what extent.
Yes.
Because the support, for instance, this past week, it's been every day. There's pockets where you're a single parent for 2-3 days or a week, just to make sure that she can
Absolutely.
take care of what she needs to take care of. And you don't think about that.
I suppose you can't imagine it,
yeah.
until you're literally in that situation.
Exactly. So obviously you declare your support, and you generally do. But you don't realize until you're in it to what extent.
You
Like
go
how
through
many
a couple
hours,
of tests
how
along
many
the way.
days. There's important things to you as a family or to you as an individual,
Yes.
but it's now become second best,
Yes.
just to support the journey. So
And I'm
yeah,
not
it's those difficult moments. Yeah.
definitely, and I'm not saying that men are not understanding, but it must have been hard for you to play second fiddle,
Yeah, it's hard and frustrating, and for me it wasn't playing second fiddle or being second best. I think my greatest challenge was, to me at least, this should be as important.
Yes.
But it was secondary too. And we always have those conversations, okay, to what end though? Is it that great? Is it that important? That you sometimes question yourself, okay, is this really worth it?
Yes.
And yeah, it was a difficult journey and challenging journey as well. Yeah.
Okay, but you all came through.
We
So,
did.
absolutely. And now let's fast forward to the 17th of November 2023, the
Yeah.
finale.
Yeah.
Okay, walk me through the feelings on the day. Your feelings, and briefly Seho's as well.
Yeah. So we're both in entertainment for quite some time, or in that space. So literally we took that day as another event that we needed to handle.
Okay, smart move.
That's how we start the day in terms of checklist. Do we have that? Pick up time of the child's drop off, make sure that he looks good, who's going to look after him for these pockets of times, inform the school. So it was very admin project
Yes.
oriented. That was the approach. You needed to be here at this time. This had to happen by this time. Make sure that child is fed,
Of course, yes.
and all that. So that was really the approach. Obviously, coordinating the family and getting there in time. They get their tickets. We are seated, and also very.
And I think the bulk of that fell on you because
Yeah,
she
it
had
did.
other responsibilities
For
that
sure.
day.
So it absolutely did, and that's how I tackled the day. Excuse me. And so I think in my mind of that day, and I remember we were very God fearing. So obviously we had our morning prayers, and we literally just asked for God's will to be done. And we carried on with the day, and obviously we kept in touch. Are you feeling okay? Did you eat? Did you drink water? Do you have
Important, yes.
all that you need? And that's how we really approached the day. And I think talking to ourselves, we're hoping for, well, she was hoping for a top uh, 5 finish.
Okay.
And
So even on the day, like for her, she didn't feel like, okay, yes, I got this in the bag.
Not at all. So we prepared a lot for the disappointment,
Of
and
course.
we're very okay with the journey ending as that. And we were very underprepared for the actual winning. Even from the logistics point of view, we prepared very well. That Saturday morning, actually Friday night, I'm coming back home with my
Yes.
son. She's coming back Saturday morning.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to deliberately relax, switch off, and Sunday maybe contact a few people and
So you'll have
thank
your
yous.
own plans for the
Yeah.
weekend.
Yeah, for sure. And Monday we carry on.
Yes,
And yeah, and we do the whole PR stuff and thank
of
yous.
course.
And yeah, it was a totally, totally different. We were totally underprepared for the actual winning and what it meant,
Yes.
even from a logistic point of view and practically. So yeah, it was what a journey. Yeah.
Wow. But I think that speaks to, I mean, yes, many things, but also the humility. So, she didn't go in there overly confident, like, I got this, and you knew, I think both of you knew that, you know what, if this is God's will, then, like you said earlier, it shall be done. So, yeah, wonderful. Okay, so I know it's most likely been a whirlwind from Friday to today, to say the very least. But my question is, what comes next? When does Sekho officially begin her reign as Mrs. South Africa 2024? And how is this going to, so this is a two-parter, how is this going to affect your family? And also, have you all had the opportunity to put a plan in place for going forward, or do we all at least have the luxury of the next few weeks to kind of lay out that plan?
Yeah, so she began her reign the same night, instantly. After the show, she got booked into the Mrs. South Africa suite. So yeah, it began. The next morning, she had the Queen's breakfast. And got handed over prizes and the car. So it's began. Same night, she presented Summers Award as Mrs. South Africa.
Wow.
So let's begin.
It hasn't stopped.
Yeah. Even currently, she's at the Queen's Getaway, where it's a lot of induction of. I think that's where she gets her schedules.
Yes.
What's the interim plan and what it practically looks like for her and what it entails, and also some meeting her wellness coach, and also spending some time with the previous queen as well. So yeah, that journey has began. In terms of what it looks like, we're not sure. We just know it's going to be very different.
Of course.
Obviously, we all had our own December traditional plans.
Yes.
In terms of we usually go to our respective homelands, spend time with family, But yeah, we might need to relook from a date point of view and
Absolutely.
timing, um, because yeah, she might have more demands or different demands as well.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's still to be seen.
Still
But
to be seen.
our approach is taking it one day at a time. Um, at some time, we're gonna really sit down and okay, this is from what we know.
Yes.
This is what we look at doing. So yeah.
You can just plan to the best of your ability, and that's it. And the rest, I think you
Correct.
can just wing it from there, day by
Yeah.
day. I think that's a very good strategy.
Yeah.
So all the best to you,
Thank you
and
so much.
also to our beautiful Mrs. South Africa 2024. And Tefo, thank you for taking the time to chat
Thank
to
you.
me. And yeah, just all the best. And I have to read this. May we always remember that behind our Mrs. South Africa 2024 is a very strong husband.
Thank you so
Tefo.
much.